We are live, Michael.
Hi, this is Michael Waitze, and welcome back to me being alive on eCommerce Undercover. I'm always trying to find some way to make Martin laugh. It's pretty hard to do, but I think I did it again today.
It's very hard
I'm
to make me
joined as
laugh.
always. Yeah, exactly. I'm joined as always by Martin Ronfort. Martin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Michael. Thank you very much. What about you?
I am on fire. That's why I'm wearing this red polo shirt.
Yeah, perfect.
Martin, I consider myself like a really positive person.
hmm
I think I have a positive outlook. I think I'm maybe like an unnecessarily optimistic
hmm
to a certain extent. I think we share that in common, actually.
I think we do, Michael.
Yeah. So talking about something that people don't want is going to sound negative, but I think that people don't want drones delivering products to their house.
hmm
And I think we see it playing out. So a few years ago, delivery drones for e-commerce were all the rage. Companies like Amazon were testing dropping packages in your backyard, which, that works if you live in sort of an outlier suburb or exurb in the United States. But it definitely doesn't work if you're on like the 15th floor of a condominium in Manhattan or in Bangkok.
hmm
So I'm still not sure whether they were doing this just to get the attention that they knew would come from saying they were going to do drone deliveries.
hmm
I don't know. What do you think?
I think that's interesting. I never thought about this in the way of getting some attention, and buying some PR, let's say.
It's Jeff Bezos, though. I mean,
Yeah,
that's all
true.
they do is try to get attention, right?
True, true, true. But I think, yeah. Let's talk about the logistics side and what happened on this side and
Exactly.
what's the innovation that we saw coming or we saw not coming, basically.
Right, right, right. That's a much better idea.
Like the drones. What you say? I think that's a very interesting topic because yeah, we saw that everywhere, and it seems like a good idea because to me, like the idea of having a robot that can deliver stuff for you, you don't have to pay for a delivery guy, you don't have to pay for truck, for gas, you don't have, the traffic issues and stuff like that because you're directly through the air. Like on paper, it seems great, right? And like on paper, let's say like the robots can work 24/7, so like maybe we can deliver faster or stuff like that, and we can create as much drone as we can. So like on paper, once again, we can have huge fleets of robots being able to deliver stuff fast and everywhere. So yeah, on paper, I think it sounds good. It looks good, but in the end, when we look at like a few years later, what we have now, there is no drones that deliver anywhere in the world. So I think that's an interesting case study.
So in 2015, Jeff Bezos said that something like 80% of the items that they deliver were going to be possible to be delivered by drone.
hmm
And to a certain extent, I think that you're right that you can produce as many drones as you want, but they consume a lot of power. They don't have really good distance. I
hmm
presume if you make them smaller, but then they can't really hold packages more than 3 kilograms. And again, this gets back to what we're always trying to figure out, like what is the innovation? What is the next innovation? What's the next thing coming?
hmm
And I think at the end of the day, 6 years later, drones are still not delivering packages to people's houses on a regular basis.
Yeah,
I mean, I actually had another idea, and I'm curious what you think about it.
tell me.
I know what you're thinking. Michael always has these crazy ideas. So think about Elon Musk's Hyperloop.
hmm
So this ability to, put stuff underground, make it travel through the air really, really quickly and efficiently. And if it can carry people, it can definitely carry television sets, right?
for sure.
So, and every big town and every city has an infrastructure underground that has piping, wiring, all this stuff. If you're living in a great place, actually all goes underground,
hmm
right? So in some places, like in Bangkok, it's still you have all these wires above ground.
hmm
But in other places, you've got all this stuff going on underground. So digging underground for subways and stuff like that is a well-known thing.
hmm
So why not test in town directly from a warehouse, build a product delivery style Hyperloop where it's super fast. You and I talked about this. I think it was last week or the week before. I can't remember. Why can't everything be delivered in an hour?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you want to eliminate a human, or if you want to make it more efficient, or if you want to make it 24/7, why not have this is what I've always thought, have a direct connection between my order and the warehouse, particularly if it's something simple. Like let's say it's, I don't know, paper toweling for the kitchen. It ships in a standard size. It fits in a box that literally terminates either in front of my house, or let's say just terminates in my basement because I gave you access to my basement. You can run the Hyperloop right through my house. Imagine what it would do to the value of your house if you had direct access to an Amazon warehouse.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Oh, maybe like directly to your mail. And actually, even the normal post company would be super happy to have that. Just put everything into a box and that directly go to your mail.
Yeah, so fair enough. So let's say that's an even better idea. So let's say in your front yard, you have a mailbox, right? Or a post office, I mean, a mailbox, right? But instead, Amazon builds lockers. Instead of these lockers that they want to put at train stations and at airports, which is ridiculous because nobody wants to pick it up there and then bring it home, but have it in your front yard in different sizes. It gets whipped to your house. It goes up into your thing. It closes. And it's got a combination lock on it that you can only unlock either with your eyes, your fingerprints, or some sort of QR code on your cell phone.
That sounds like a crazy idea, but it sounds like a
But
great
now you're
idea.
talking about real innovation, right?
Yeah, for sure. But like, I'm thinking like how we can start that. Like, we would need to dig the tunnel and all of that. It looks like a lot of work for just testing. That's my point. Like, if you want to have a drone, like you just build a drone, you test, and like if it doesn't work, the loss is not that huge. If you dig a tunnel in the wall, like in the ground, sorry, and you connect stuff directly, it better work.
But it should work, right? In other words, you pick a town, like a small town somewhere, and you test it. The same thing that they were doing with the Hyperloop. I mean, I'm sure we could test this in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, right? You for particularly for a place that has a lot of fancy condos, it doesn't have to go to your room, right? But this eliminates the necessity to have a drone kind of hovering outside the 72nd floor of some tall building in Dubai and just waiting for someone to open the window or go on the balcony and get their pizza delivered, right? What you could do is have it terminate at every building that wants it, right? But it has to be free access. In other words, every company has to have access to it. So it can't just be Amazon. It has to be, like in Thailand, it would be Shopee and Lazada. It's like a public access thing that the companies then have to pay for. You want access to this delivery mechanism? I mean, it's way better than a delivery person, right?
For sure. Like, I think that's a really great idea. I think that's a very great idea and a very futuristic idea. And you're right. Like, maybe we can like start that in, like, for example, you mentioned Dubai. There's a lot of high-rise like building in Dubai, right? Like, there's a lot of apartments. You can just connect that to the ground floor mail room, and
Yep.
like and get everything delivered into the right mailbox, for example. And yeah, in the end, it's not that hard because like has all the buildings are close to each other. Like, you can, like, for example, in Dubai, there's like one main road, like the Sheikh Zayed road, and all the buildings are next to each other. So basically, you can just do one straight line and one thing that goes up into the building. And yeah, maybe you can start this way, and then expand the network to like more road and more stuff like that. Maybe.
But think about it. Here's the way to disintermediate only one company having access to it. So you order it from a warehouse, and then the warehouse then delivers it to your Hyperloop center, which then controls all the deliveries. So they pay for access to it, right? And you make money by doing that delivery for them instead of having motorcycle guys running around town. Now think about it. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you need
You did it.
aspirin, or
Yeah.
you need paper toweling, or you just want some mayonnaise, boom, you press the button, something automated happens. They send it over to the Hyperloop center, which you connect to, right?
Yeah.
And then it ends up in your building, and you get a message, come on downstairs to the lobby. The
Deliver.
mayonnaise is there.
That would be crazy, actually. That would be crazy, and I think you're right. That's much better than drones. That's much better than drones to do something like that. Yeah.
But also, so one of the other problems with the drone is that it takes up airspace, right? And there are very, very strict rules in cities around what can fly around,
Yeah. Which
right?
makes
In
sense,
smaller
right?
towns, Say it again.
Which made sense. Like if you put a camera on the drone and you let the drone to do anywhere, then it can be like very bad for privacy reason or for any kind of reason, right? So it's normal that you cannot just fly anywhere you want in the city, I think.
Yeah, but also to protect against terrorism and
Hmm.
other sort of nefarious people just flying drones around with guns on them or dropping
Yeah.
bombs. The government's, in the Aviation Association, so the FAA in the United States, the Federal Aviation Association, I can't remember what it's called, right? They want to control the airspace.
Hmm.
And that's fair because it's dangerous. I mean, what if a drone falls out of the sky? The Hyperloop can't fall out of the sky, right?
Hmm. Hmm. For sure.
So to me, that is, if you want to talk about sort of futuristic delivery, why go in the sky? Why not go underground? It's so,
Right.
first of all, it's so much cooler, so much faster, it takes up way less energy, and it can work on an infinite timescale, right?
Right.
Because it doesn't require the batteries. Like a
Hmm.
drone can go like 30 kilometers and then goes, uh-oh, wrong house kind of thing. I know that's a GPS, I get it. But what if like the person's not there and it drops it and then it rains on it? This
Hmm.
never happens with this Hyperloop delivery thing.
Yeah, and also like I think from a cost perspective, like once we build the Hyperloop stuff, then it's sustainable for like many years. Like, but if we invest into drones, then we still need to buy for powering the drones, for fixing the drones, for creating new drones. Like, I think on the long run, there's much more cost with the drones than with the Hyperloop delivery, as you mentioned. I think.
Right. And if it's a Hyperloop, it can be built at a certain size. So it can be refrigerated, it can be heated. I mean, how do you like to get a pizza just Hyperloop to your house? You're
Yeah.
laughing, but it
Have
makes
you
sense, doesn't it?
Have you ever seen that somewhere? Like anybody like thought about that or tested that somewhere?
No, I haven't. But here's the thing. In restaurants that have multiple floors on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have kitchens on every floor.
Mm-hmm.
So for years or for decades, actually, maybe for centuries, they've had something called a dumbwaiter. The kitchen on the first floor makes the food. They put it into something that's like an elevator for food.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes it up to the second floor and a bell goes off. And if it's your table, you go pick it up. Table number 17. Okay, that's my table coverage. I pick it up off the dumbwaiter. I bring it on a tray over to table 17.
Okay.
So all it's doing is just extending that type of mentality at scale.
Yeah, I remember seeing like kind of the same idea in movies, but I'm too young for that. But I saw that into all movies
Of course, of
for
course, of course.
trashes and for like for the clothes that you wanna clean into an hotel. They just like
Mhm.
throw everything into like a small door from any floors, and then everything fall down on the ground floor at the same location. So that's basically the same idea, right? But we do that in reverse. Instead of like getting the clothes or the trash out of the apartments from any floors, then we
Bring
go
them in.
up and we bring stuff in, and then we connect this building to the warehouse directly, and then we can ship anything like very fast.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine. So it's like building a railway, like a modern railway at scale, right?
Yeah.
So you can say, well, you can't get the right of way, but it's probably easier to get right of way underground than it is to put train tracks everywhere. Right? Because in the old days, right, you could have a monorail or you could have a trolley, you
Hmm.
could have buses going all over the city, but it's super intrusive, right?
Hmm. For sure.
And it can't, and the other thing is this delivery can't make a mistake. It's got a barcode on it, it knows your address, it just comes, nobody ever touches it, so it can't get stolen. The Hyperloop company connects directly to everybody's warehouse, so you don't even care where it's coming from.
Yeah, right.
It just goes, comes up into your box. You get a
Oh.
notification, goes, I'll go get that, honey. I think our pizza just arrived,
Yeah.
kind of thing. How good would that be?
That would be super great, that's for sure. And yeah, like we could potentially buy stuff 24/7 and super fast, right? Like just talk about, for example, yeah, it's 2 a.m. At night. You mean you miss paper for the toilet? Like you just can just go by and and when it
Yeah,
gets
or like
delivered, like
diapers for
food,
your baby.
yeah,
Like,
anything.
could you imagine the fights at like 3 o'clock in the morning? Honey, I think we've run out of diapers. You want to go to seven? No, I'm not going to 7-Eleven. Just press a couple of buttons, they'll be here in 4 minutes because Hyperloop is also fast, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Hmm. Yeah, like they were building something like that in Dubai. So that was a Hyperloop company. They were also not directly to the end users, but for
Right.
connecting the warehouses together. Instead of using trucks, then they were using the Hyperloop mechanism to send the goods like between the warehouses, and you using that to be of course much faster and much more efficient because
Yep.
there was nobody driving that. It was like small capsule, and they've just put goods inside of that, and they just send it super fast inside the tunnel. And yeah, they were showing that actually at the motor show in Dubai, the last one that I've been to, I think
Right.
2019, I think. Yeah, maybe. And yeah, they were showing that they were building that for the shipping companies.
Do we have to have all the ideas?
Yeah, that's right. We have a lot of ideas on this show, my girl. I think if there
How
is
come
some like
nobody else is doing this stuff?
yeah, like actually, like maybe we should try it, my girl. It should be our own adventure.
I feel like in the middle of every show, I just want to stop doing the show and go build the thing we just talked about. Is that fair?
Yeah, true. Let's do it, my girl. Let's do it. Actually, like
Well, what do
if
you think? Go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry. No, I just wanted to finish on this idea that we have so many ideas on the show, and yeah, if there's some entrepreneur who are listening to us, we might be like very happy to get all of our ideas.
Just hope Jeff Bezos doesn't do this before we finish the show.
He's going to listen to eCommerce Undercover for sure and and get our ideas, my god.
We're gonna buy e-commerce undercover so we don't do any of this stuff.
Ourselves, yeah.
It's on Acquihire.
That's funny. That's funny.
Only at $10 billion though am I gonna sell it. But there are other delivery mechanisms too. Like, what do you? Because people are trying to solve this problem, right?
Mhm.
We talked about again just delivery options, 3PL, and what type of innovation is there? Do you because other companies have been trying to do robots for food delivery, but even just for product delivery, right? Where these little guys are kind of cruising down sidewalks
Yeah.
for food. And this is also in Dubai. Like, I feel like I should move to Dubai at some level because there's just because it feels like you can just test so many things there. But because of the way the roads are set up, because it's all new infrastructure, right?
Mhm.
It feels to me like you can test a lot of things there. I mean, I haven't been there in a while now. It's been like 6 or 7 years. But what do you think about robots themselves, like being on the road or being on the sidewalk delivering stuff to people?
So same, just before I moved to Bangkok, like in Dubai, we were starting to test like kind of automated trucks. I think it was with FedEx company. I'm not sure about that 100%, but it was with one of the big carrier company, and they were testing automated trucks that was going from the warehouse and directly to the end customers on the road. Like so, there was no driver. It was on the UAE road. I think it was between Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and it should just like drive around and deliver stuff directly to you. So I have no idea how it goes because I've left to Dubai since then. But once again, it was back in 2019, and we were trying that kind of stuff in Dubai. That was pretty cool. And but yeah, well, I think I agree with you. Like, I'm not sure we want to see robots on the sidewalks in the street, or like on the like into our building, just coming for delivering stuff. And I'm not sure that's super efficient neither, because in the end, it's the same kind of delivery as somebody who takes his motorbike and would just drive around. But I think robot cannot be faster and smarter than someone. So in the end, I think it's gonna be less efficient. And I'm not sure. Once again, we want to see robots just walking everywhere. I'm not sure of that. And I don't think we're gonna be as fast as a human into like reacting to something new, to something that happened, to like interacting with people and stuff like that. So in the end, I think the experience is gonna be less good. Like for example, we have some robots at True Digital Park, right? So they are not
We
made.
do actually.
Yeah, we do have, and actually once again in Dubai as well. We talked a lot about Dubai into this episode, but you could go to the bench and do some simple stuff with a robot at the bench. There was robots just like hand it around, and you should just like go talk to the robot and do some simple stuff with him directly. and that was cool. But the robot was slow. It was, like not moving very fast and stuff like that. So in the end, it's funny, but it's not very super efficient. So once you pass the moment where you think it's cool and you just want it to be fast, then you just go to talk to someone, or just go to the ATM, right? And I believe with delivery robot, it would be the same thing. At first, it's cool, it's funny, but in the end, they're gonna have a hard time to react as fast and to be as fast as a human. So it's just gonna be frustrating.
Yeah, again, I just think this is a this is a solution looking for a problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Yeah.
like we know we can build these robots, but first of all, they're going to get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think second of all, what do you do? So unlike the Hyperloop idea, these machines are going to require maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
like serious maintenance. It's going to be really expensive if they break down like in the midst of a delivery with these, silly wheels on it and stuff like that. Also, someone could literally pick this thing up. Could you imagine somebody picking up the Hyperloop? Right, so you could pick this thing up and figure out some way to open it if you know it's got like 15 iPhones in it. It
Mm-hmm.
just feels really inefficient. And another thing as well, similar to the drones, is that what if they put a camera on it
Mm-hmm.
and they just start filming everything?
Mm-hmm.
The privacy issues, I think, are going to be really hard to get around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just the machines that they're showing on this, I think this is just this is like geek heaven kind of thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where it's solving a problem in a way that nobody really wants it solved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so small, right? So an automated truck would be a great thing because it can carry things that are big enough to be delivered.
Mm-hmm.
But these little things that they're showing for this guy's company, what is it? Delivers.ai.
Mm-hmm.
It's so low to the ground. I don't know. I just don't think this stuff is going to work. And God forbid it starts raining or it's in a place where it's snowing and the terrain's not clear. Not yet.
Yeah, completely agree with you. And yeah, I think that's the reason why we don't see them everywhere right now. I don't think it's a technology issue. I think that's more like, as you say, more like an ID issue, like kind of like the locker, that they try to put in every station or in every subway. We talked about that last week. At first, it sounds like a good idea, but in the end, we don't see that everywhere, and not everybody use them, right? Because
Yeah.
like just not something that people want to do. And I think, yeah, same for robots, same for drones. Yeah, we're still looking for something better, I think.
Right. And look, it's going to take time to build out a Hyperloop style solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we need in reality, at least in the medium term, is somebody or some kind of company that can just handle the logistics, that understands the local terrain, for lack of a better term, and is grounded in like the stuff that we can do today.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because Hyperloop, just like building a new subway line, could take like 5, 6, 7 years, right?
Yeah.
But once it's there, it's going to be amazing. Very large capex, so
Mm-hmm.
capital expenditure necessary. It is very futuristic, and I do think at some point someone's going to do this.
You think so?
Absolutely, because it just makes too much sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you just think about the level of automation that everything else is happening,
Mm-hmm.
this direct to your, remember we always talk about direct to consumer. If it just goes directly from a factory or direct from a warehouse right to you with no other intervention,
Yeah,
I mean, that would be amazing.
for sure.
So think about this. Let's say there was a warehouse somewhere in Bang Na,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I wake up, let's say I have a baby and I need diapers and we just run out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not driving to 7-Eleven at 2:00 in the morning to get diapers for my baby. I don't have a baby, but if I did, right? But if I could get it hyperlooped to me directly from a warehouse in Bang Na
Mm-hmm.
in like 10 minutes or less, like if it took that long to process, or even an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it terminated at my condo, even downstairs, in a locker or someplace where I had a QR code that I could unlock it, and I would do that all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure. For groceries, for food, for like the thing that you forgot. It would be great. And what about using the 7-Eleven? Because 7-Eleven, for example, in Bangkok, they are really close to many houses. So like, what about like we just use the 7-Eleven just to be the local houses, just to try and to test, to make smaller connection.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think a company like CP could definitely do this, right? Because they
Hmm.
have all of the products already.
Yeah.
They have all, I consider 7-Elevens to be like mini warehouses, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
they're everywhere. There
Exactly.
are
Yeah.
more, I think there are more 7-Elevens per capita in Thailand than anywhere else in the world.
Oh, really? But there is so much actually. I'm not that surprised. I'm
I'm
not
just
that.
trying to think if that's the right thing. We can look it up. Somebody should check that statistic.
Hmm.
But either way, we know that the concentration of 7-Elevens is high. If you walk down Scumbit Road for a kilometer, you probably pass 4 or 5 of them,
Hmm. For sure.
right?
Really. Really. So yeah. So like we often talk actually on the show about this idea, like, of having like small local warehouses and like and shipping closer basically to the end customers. So maybe that can be connected to the to Hyperloop ID and to yeah use this network of store as warehouses to feed inside the Hyperloop and to be like even faster if possible.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think one of the other things that's going to happen because of e-commerce is that people are going to care less and less who the merchant is. We've talked a lot about direct to consumer, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that that idea of on demand is just going to accelerate.
Hmm.
But that would help accelerate it, right? I don't care who delivers it to me, and I don't care who is the retail outlet. Just get me the diapers for my baby in the next 15 minutes or the next 30 minutes, and I'm super happy. And remember,
Hmm.
we talked about this the day that we went to record at Seven Peaks, right?
Hmm.
What if I'd forgotten an XLR cable?
Hmm.
How amazing would it have been if you just said, "Oh, never mind, just give me a few minutes, I'll just get one." You press the button, boom, it gets hyper. It's a brand new building, right?
Yeah, that would be definitely awesome. That would be definitely awesome, and I think consumer would love it, but also brands would love it, right? And as you say, like if people cares less and less about who deliver or what's the company behind, and actually like we can see that on marketplaces, because sometimes it's very hard to see like what's the company behind, or like if like who are they, what's the brand and stuff like that. And people still shop on marketplaces, so I think it shows that people doesn't really care that much about who
I
is
don't.
behind, as long as it works and there's positive reviews and there's no problems and stuff like that. But yeah, so if you can get like the Pampers directly delivered over XLR cables, or yeah, something, maybe something small at first, but after that, what about the microphone or the boom arms? If you just wanna have a last minute conversation with someone, it would be
Right.
it would be great. And what about Major? I just have an idea. What about gas for the car? That's not really e-commerce, but this is something that so many people go to this gas station to get gas. And once again, in Dubai, there was a company. Um, they were coming to you to fulfill your tank, basically. And you had an app, and you could like just order them. I don't really know how to say that, but basically, like, you set up a meeting, and you don't need to be there. I don't know exactly how it works, but they come and fulfill the tank of your car. So what about we connect this idea about something that is really widely used? So many people go fulfill the tank of their car or their motorbike with direct delivery of gas at home or close to home.
So I mean, it's a great idea, right? In other words, it's probably even better for the environment. It reduces lines and stuff like that. You can like, think about this. Let's say you're going on a road trip, right?
Hmm.
And you're leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning, and that you need gasoline and haven't had a chance to go
Hmm.
get it, right? So you order it up and say, just come to my house, put it in at 5 o'clock in the morning. You pay for it with your credit card or some other way,
Hmm.
and you're just done.
Hmm.
Now, I think there's some safety issues. People will worry, I think, about gasoline trucks just kind of like driving around willy-nilly into condo parking lots.
Hmm. For sure.
But having said that, there's got to be a way to do it.
For sure. I think so. I think so. And yeah, so what about we try to include that as well? Actually, like with a electric car, they kind of fits this issue because you can charge your car at home. That's kind of a
Right.
way to solve it.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, all cars are going to be electric in the next like 15 or 20 years anyway, right? Probably sooner than that. But yeah. But this
Yes.
idea of just like on demand, I
Yeah.
think is going to be really important, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's the overall idea in this conversation is that like if we can do that with gas, with electricity, with like movies and music, actually like the last 5 to 10 years shows us that now music and movies are on demand, right? We can just listen to any music that we want, and we can watch any movies that we want, just like that, with Netflix, with company like Spotify and stuff like that. It completely transformed this industry, right? And when so many people thought that the music industry was dead like 15 years ago because of the internet, no, they just
Right.
completely reinvent themselves, right? Like company like Sony or Universal, they completely changed the way they operated to be able to adapt to internet, and now they're like even bigger than before, right? And I think that's very interesting to see like how this kind of product or services are now on demand, right? Like you can really listen or watch any kind of movie that you want, just like right now. So what about e- everyday stuff? Definitely.
Agreed. Agreed. In other words, we haven't spoken about this yet, but I've wanted to get a speaker for my condo for a long time,
Okay.
but they don't sell the speaker that I want at the Apple store, right? So I wanted a HomePod. I wanted a big one, but they discontinued it. So today I just went onto Lazada
Mm-hmm.
and I bought a HomePod Mini.
Okay.
Now, why can't I get that in an hour?
Mm-hmm. No,
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
cannot. For
Right?
sure.
Everyone's talking about writing software to optimize delivery.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clearly not optimized yet. Like, think about it. If there was a Hyperloop directly to my condo, I'd already have it, wouldn't I?
Yeah, for sure. And actually, like making a hyperloop between Lazada and your condo makes sense because there's many people living into your condo, right? So and the Lazada, and actually there's many products that are shipped by Lazada actually. So it's inside their warehouses, and it's their team who is going to ship it to you. So yeah, why not just do the hyperloop and do an on-demand stuff for everyday products?
I mean, I sometimes during the day I go back and forth between my studio here at True Digital Park
Mm-hmm.
and my condo at Wisdom, which is like basically right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And some days I go back and forth 3 or 4 times, not because I forget something, but let's say I just want to have lunch or I just want to pick something up or I just want to bring something back there. I went to the supermarket downstairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is never a time, and I mean never, when I'm going back and forth between, and it doesn't matter if it's, obviously there's curfew now, but before curfew, 10 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, something's always being delivered. Always.
Always, yeah. That's true. There's so many people who come deliver to this area. But actually, it makes sense because there's many people living there, plus curfew, plus restaurant closed. So it means like we get to deliver stuff, right? So imagine if this Hyperloop ID was being built and people started that, let's say, 5 years ago. It would have been ideal for now, for the pandemic situation.
Yeah, because then you wouldn't have to have a curfew for food delivery.
Exactly, yeah.
You could just be at your restaurant, crank it out, drop it in a box. Your hamburger shows up hotter than it would be if some dude had to ride it to you for 30 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. Like for
I'm
restaurant,
doing
but
this.
and also for every kind of stuff like Lazada or any kind of other e-commerce company, right? Because like they had to make their people work from home. Some of their people got sick, so they cannot work. So like the delivery time really increased for some companies. So but with Hyperloop doesn't really matter, how many people are working on that. So it can be much faster and yeah, much more safer in a pandemic situation, let's say.
Yeah, and think about it. If there's a train that goes from Bangkok to Chiang Mai
Hmm.
or from Bangkok to Chonburi, then there can be a Hyperloop built underneath it that just sends stuff back and forth,
Yeah.
right?
So we
Okay.
should we should build it, Michael.
The thing is, it just works in cities and it works in small towns as well, right?
Hmm. Just build the network actually. Yeah, you can.
But let's talk about on-demand e-commerce
Hmm.
because this is not actually pie in the sky. This is not fantasy style stuff, and we know that because a company in Vietnam that used to be Like, what did they start? It was just a review app, right?
Yeah, at first, yeah.
And what was it called? Low something. I can't remember the name of it. The original application.
I don't know for the original application, but for the company now that's like just raise funds, the
It's
Vietnamese
Low Ship,
company,
yeah.
it's low ship exactly. Yeah.
Right. So Low Ship, the whole premise of Low Ship is that they do what? They, excuse me, they offer 1 hour deliveries.
Hmm.
So this fits into this whole concept that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe the Hyperloop is a little bit further in the future, but this idea of doing on-demand e-commerce, which is something that you and I have been talking about for a while,
Yeah.
I think is now getting played out in Vietnam. And it's interesting, right? Because this is part of this concept that we have in Southeast Asia of just like leapfrogging things.
Hmm.
Right now, they used to try to do this in New York with bicycle delivery. You probably are too young to remember that. But they had all these bicycle dudes just like running around. Maybe they did it in Paris as well, but they had all these bicycle dudes running around the city, right?
Yeah.
Delivering shit.
Yeah. They do that in France with Uber Eats and Food Panda and Deliveroo. There is no motorbike. It's only bicycle.
Right. But it's not for products, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very
It's
inefficient for
it's.
products. So for food delivery, it's kind of a solved problem, but it's not profitable, right?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I don't think anybody in the world has solved the profitability problem. And then part of the reason is because the barriers to entry for getting into that business are low.
Mhm.
And like we said before, no one's actually built super optimized technology to make those deliveries more efficient. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I told you when I got my green screen for the condo, it took like 3 or 4 days to get it. After not after I ordered it, but like 3 or 4 days of trying to have it delivered to me,
Mhm.
right? Because either they were a little bit late or a little bit early, and I couldn't go downstairs and all this stuff. It seems ridiculous that it took 3 shots at it, that they couldn't just come back later in the day, but they just make some kind of sweep.
Mhm.
And once they get past your building, they're not coming back, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Right. So Low Ship, but we should try to get these guys on the show. But the idea here, and they've raised a ton of money too, something like 20 million bucks in total. But
Mhm.
their last round they raised 12 million bucks at $100 million valuation. So what does that mean? They
Yeah.
sold 12% of their company.
Mhm.
So somebody believes that this 1 hour delivery thing is actually going to be a big deal. But I guess the point that I was trying to make, and I want your opinion on this too, but the point that I was trying to make is that first of all, someone believes that on-demand e-commerce is really important.
Mhm.
Secondly, it's happening in Vietnam before it's happening in other places in the world because emerging and developing economies there's no legacy system that they're fighting against, right?
For sure.
And they also understand, like, I would just be so scared to death to see motorcycle delivery in Manhattan. I think it would just be like a death trap.
Why so bad? Because you think that there is way too much traffic, or what's the issue?
Just first of all, the way the city's arranged in a grid means that like when the lights change, people will just like run the lights. I know plenty of people that used to ride motorcycles in Manhattan and it was just so dangerous. But if you put more motorbikes on the road,
Mhm.
it would just be super dangerous because they'd be flying all over the place at all times.
Mhm.
But in Vietnam, just like in Thailand, and just like in Indonesia, people are used to having motorbikes all over the place. So if you look at an intersection, the front of any intersection in Thailand, in Bangkok, right?
Tons of motorbike.
Just all motorbikes.
Yeah.
So people are used to it.
Mhm.
So they can actually do this type of 1 hour innovation in a way that probably can't get done in a place like Manhattan or
Yeah.
Chicago or Miami kind of thing. What do you think?
I think is the 1 hour delivery idea a good idea? I think that's not even a question. Obviously it is. Like I think it's very, 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 very important to do that, and like customers want that. Just like we see, like food.tech with the seller that I'm working with, the one
Right.
who are offering a faster delivery options, this sell more. That's it. Like because this is really something that people want and people are looking for, and they want to when they want to buy something, they can if they can get it delivered in 1 day or 2 days, it makes a huge difference compared to 3 or 5 days, and you
Right.
you you can even charge more people for that. Like really, that some people are okay to pay 3 euros, five euros more just to get the item delivered in 1 day. So in France, we don't talk at all about same day delivery. It's just like something that doesn't exist there. We are more talking about like going from 10 days to 7 and 5 and 3. that's that's the current stage that we are in. But
Love it.
the overall idea is definitely to get this like closer and closer and closer, right? And get the item shipped and delivered to the end customer much faster. And people want that. When I say people, I mean consumers, which means the brand who are selling e-commerce, who are selling online, sorry, they want to be able to deliver their end customer very fast. So if tomorrow you have a carrier that say, hey, I can deliver your goods in 1 hour, I think that makes a huge difference, and that's super good. So that's right. I really believe into the idea of delivering fast. Like it's I think it's a must-have, let's say, and it's definitely something that is going to happen. And like let's see who's going to make it happen. And after that, I think the only question is, does this company can handle it, and can they operate the 1 hour delivery? Because I think there's so many challenges into doing that, and I think the one that you spot with the motorbike, I think that's a nice observation, because that's true. Like if it's gonna be hard to deliver under 1 hour with cars in every city in the world, so you need something faster, but you cannot really have motorbike in every big cities of the world. So maybe it's easier to start here in Asia, but I think that's not the only issue. I think there is other issues, but you are right. There is somebody who believe enough into this Vietnamese company to put so much money into this, so they must be doing something right also on the operation stuff to be able to handle this fast delivery.
Right. But again, they are restricted. And I love the idea that they built this company in 2017, that they've got, an oversubscribed investment round. But they do kind of qualify, right? They say they can do a large range of products and services for anything that can fit on the back of a scooter.
Okay.
Now, I will say this. One day in Tokyo, I had lent my barbecue, like a Weber barbecue. I don't know if you know what that is. It's kind of like a big black bowl on like a tripod of stands. And I'd lent it to my friend. He needed it for a party he was having. He couldn't really put it into a taxi because its size was just kind of unwieldy, right?
Okay.
So I put it on the front of my scooter and I rode it to his house.
And that was fine.
No, it was not fine at all. And it was the most dangerous thing because I had to hold it like with my arms while I had my hand on the scooter handles. And it wasn't like securely fastened. Right. And I'm just looking at the picture that they have in this TechCrunch article about this delivery that's taking place in Vietnam. And it kind of reminds me, of that situation where like, yeah, it's great, but there are tons of products that you cannot fit on the back of a scooter.
That's for sure. That's for sure. But what's the ratio of, like in the total volume of stuff that are bought online? How many can fit in the back on the back of a scooter, and how much cannot, right?
I'd probably say like 70%. Like you're not going to get a 72-inch television set
for sure
delivered on the back of a scooter, but you could get diapers, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, like, is it really a problem for like, does the majority of stuff that are bought online big, or is the majority of stuff small, right? So
Right.
So I think the majority of stuff are small. Like I think most of the people, they buy small stuff online, and sometimes they buy something big. So yeah, I think company like this Vietnamese company have a nice future ahead of us if they can, like, if they are doing something great on the logistics side, because that's not easy, I think.
Right. This definitely falls into the category of it's great to get them on the show so we can talk to them because they definitely have more information than we do.
For
Think
sure.
about it. In 3 or 4 years, they've had 70,000 drivers, they say, and 200,000 merchants, and about 2 million customers just in the main cities, right? Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, HCH, Da Nang, Kanto, and Bien Ho. So like this is clearly growing really fast. But again, another really interesting company to follow and to see like how this works, but confirming the fact that on-demand e-commerce is a thing. Yeah.
It's completely a thing. I completely agree with you. That's a thing that's important. It's going to grow, and yeah, this company like definitely confirm that, as you say. cannot agree more, Michael.
Got it. I'm not sure. There's a whole other conversation we should have. I don't think we do that today about some of the other operational background stuff. I really wanted to cover sort of these delivery options, particularly as it relates to innovation. And we've definitely covered a lot of ground. I don't want to bring up a new topic because if we do, I'm kind of concerned that we'll go like another 30 minutes,
For sure. As always, right?
as always. And God forbid we have another idea, we'll have to start another company, right?
For sure. Like doing every show.
Anyway, look, I think that was great. I'd like to end here. I really want to thank you for coming on and doing this and thank all the listeners. Martin, where can people find you again?
They can find me at martin@lodr.tech. That's my professional email address for my business .tech, where we build super great e-commerce website, and all of these website that we build make us work with e-commerce people. So this is really cool to be able to help e-commerce people get the data, get the insight. And I can definitely say that the delivery side of that and all the logistics side is very, very, very important. And I know that all of my sellers want faster delivery. They want on-demand stuff. They want that kind of logistic behind. And even the small brands who just start, they also want to do that. So let's see what's the future of it.
Yeah, and again, I just want to reiterate, today I ordered myself a HomePod Mini. And I actually had to check the calendar to see if I could order it today based on the time, the day range that they said it was going to be delivered.
Of a day range.
Yes, I'm already nervous. They say it's going to get delivered between the 16th and the 18th.
Yeah.
Right? But on the 16th would be great because Monday I don't have that much to do. But 17th and 18th, if it comes, it's like my gotcha. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it or not, right? So it's going to turn into a message. So 2-day delivery could turn into a week-long delivery. Anyway, this is, I think, part of the problem when it's not on demand.
Yeah, for sure, Michael.
Anyway.
Thank you very much for this conversation.
Yeah, and if people want to get in touch with me or want to listen to other interesting conversations about the tech scene in Southeast Asia, you can listen to the AsiaTechPodcast.com. You can also listen to the Asia InsurTech Podcast.com and the Asian FinTech Podcast.com for just some other amazing stories. Thank you again, Martin.
Thank you, Michael. Have a nice day.